The signal. In the vast darkness between the stars, the research vessel Quantum Seeker drifted silently, its sensors probing the endless void. Chief researcher Valera adjusted her crystalline viewing apparatus, her four eyes widening at the unprecedented readings before her. "Captain," she called out, her voice carrying the musical tones typical of the harmonious collective. "I believe we found something extraordinary." Captain Zixtel glided across the bridge on fields of controlled gravity, his translucent form shimming with interest. "Show me." The holographic display expanded, revealing a spiral galaxy arm and zooming in on a rather unremarkable yellow star. But the quantum readings around its third planet defied all known physics. "This can't be right," Valera muttered, her crystalline fingers dancing across the controls. "The planet's quantum field. It's structured, organized, almost like..." "Like what?" Zixtal pressed. "Like a symphony," she whispered. "But that's impossible. Natural quantum fields are chaotic. This one, it's being shaped by consciousness. Billions of consciousness, all interconnected, creating patterns we've never seen before." The implications hit Valera like a gravitational wave. She'd spent 3 centuries studying quantum consciousness across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared her for this. Every known species developed quantum sensitivity through evolutionary processes, a gradual awakening to the fundamental fabric of reality. But this was different. "Captain," she said, her voice steady despite her excitement, "these beings aren't just generating a quantum field. They're shaping it through stories." Zixtel's form rippled with skepticism. "Stories? Look at these patterns." Valera manipulated the holographic display, showing waves of quantum energy flowing across the planet's surface. "They're structured like narratives. Beginning, middle, end. Conflict, resolution. And they're everywhere, in their electronic transmissions, their art, their music. These beams are unconsciously weaving the quantum fabric of reality through cultural expression." The captain's skepticism faded as he studied the data. In 3 millennia of space exploration, the harmonious collective had never encountered anything like this. Most species touched the quantum field through meditation, technology, or evolutionary adaptation. But to shape it through pure creativity. "How advanced are they?" he asked. "Technologically, early space age. They've barely left their atmosphere." Valera paused, consulting another readout. "But their quantum potential, it's off the charts. They just don't know they're doing it." "Recommendations. We need to inform the Galactic Council immediately." And Valera hesitated, knowing the gravity of her next words. "I recommend immediate first contact preparations." Zixtel's form darkened with concern. "They're nowhere near the technological threshold for first contact. The protocols are clear." "The protocols were written for conventional species," Valera interrupted. "These beings, they call themselves humans. They're already affecting quantum fields across their entire sector. If they suddenly become aware of what they're doing..." She let the implications hang in the air. The captain absorbed this in silence. The quantum field wasn't just some scientific curiosity. It was the foundation of interstellar civilization. FTL travel, telepathic communication, energy generation. Everything depended on controlled quantum manipulation, a species that could unconsciously affect it through mere storytelling. "Begin full surveillance," he ordered. "I want to know everything about them. Their social structures, their decision-making processes, their conflicts and resolutions." And Valera, he turned all his sensory organs toward her, "find out what makes their stories so special." Over the next several weeks, the Quantum Seeker's sensors cataloged every transmission, every broadcast, every digital signal emanating from Earth. Valera immersed herself in human culture, marveling at their endless creativity. They turned everything into stories. Their history, their fears, their hopes for the future. Even their scientific theories were wrapped in narratives of discovery and wonder. But it was their fiction that truly astounded her. Humans didn't just observe the universe. They imagined new ones. They dreamed up impossible scenarios and made them feel real through nothing but words and images. And each story, each song, each piece of art left its mark on the quantum field, creating complex patterns that rippled through space-time itself. "They're like quantum artists," she explained to the captain during one of their daily briefings. "Every human on that planet is unconsciously contributing to a massive quantum tapestry. The more they create, the more they share their stories, the stronger it becomes. And they have no idea, none. They attribute it all to imagination, creativity, cultural expression. They don't realize they're actually manipulating the fundamental forces of reality." A priority alert flashed across their sensors. Valera's crystalline form vibrated with alarm as she processed the readings. "Captain," she said urgently, "the field is changing. The patterns are becoming more organized, more coherent. I think they're starting to wake up." Zixtal moved to the main viewport, gazing down at the blue-white planet below. Somewhere down there, billions of storytellers were unknowingly reaching out into the cosmos, their collective creativity weaving patterns that defied the laws of physics themselves. "Send the alert to the Council," he ordered. "Priority 1. Tell them we found something impossible." As Valera prepared the transmission, she couldn't help but wonder what would happen when humanity finally realized the true power of their stories. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. The signal was sent, racing across quantum channels toward the heart of galactic civilization. And on Earth below, billions of humans went about their lives, telling stories, sharing art, and unknowingly changing the very fabric of reality with every word they spoke. The age of isolation was ending. Humanity's greatest story was about to begin. The awakening. Maya Chen sat in her small art studio in San Francisco, brush hovering over canvas. When the first wave hit, colors seemed to explode behind her eyes, not just seeing them, but feeling them, tasting them, hearing them as music. Her hand moved of its own accord, painting patterns she didn't understand but somehow knew were right. Across the city, across the world, similar scenes played out. A street musician in Paris found his saxophone playing notes that shouldn't exist. A grandmother in Lagos experienced her grandchildren's dreams while quilting. A poet in Buenos Aires wrote verses that readers swore they could touch. In orbit, Valera watched in mounting concern as Earth's quantum field fluctuated wildly. "Their sensitivity is increasing exponentially," she reported to both Captain Zixtal and the hastily assembled Galactic Council observation team. "Our presence, our observations, they're acting as a catalyst." "Can we suppress it?" asked Council Observer Key, their plasma-based form flickering with worry. "Suppression would be catastrophic," Valera replied. "Their quantum field is interwoven with their creativity, their cultural expression. Damping it would be like cutting off part of their consciousness." Back on Earth, Maya Chen had covered every surface of her studio with paintings unlike anything she'd created before. Fractals that seemed to extend into other dimensions, colors that changed depending on the viewer's thoughts, and in the center of it all, a pattern that looked suspiciously like a star map. She wasn't alone. Social media exploded with reports of strange phenomena. Artists, writers, musicians, and creators of all kinds were experiencing something beyond normal inspiration. Their works were affecting people in impossible ways. Sculptures that moved when no one was looking, songs that cured headaches, stories that appeared in readers' dreams. Governments scrambled to respond. The UN convened an emergency session. Scientists proposed theories ranging from mass hysteria to quantum consciousness evolution. Religious leaders saw divine intervention. Tech companies' servers crashed under the weight of millions trying to share their experiences. In her studio, Maya finally stepped back from her work, hands covered in paint, mind reeling with visions she couldn't quite grasp. The star map painting seemed to pulse with its own inner light. She reached out to touch it. "Stop." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. The air shimmered, and suddenly her studio wasn't empty anymore. Valera hadn't planned on revealing herself. Direct intervention violated every protocol, but she'd recognized the equations hidden in Maya's artwork, quantum coordinates that could have accidentally teleported half of San Francisco into deep space. Maya stared at the crystalline being floating in her studio, paint dripping from her frozen fingers. Somehow, she wasn't afraid. It felt right. Like meeting a character she'd always known she would write. "You're not human," she said simply. "No," Valera replied, "but we've been watching. And you, all of you, are about to change everything." Outside, the quantum field rippled with the thoughts and emotions of billions of humans beginning to wake up to their true nature. Art galleries became temples of light. Concert halls turned into quantum nexuses. Libraries resonated with the collective dreams of countless readers and writers. The Galactic Council observation team was in chaos. "We have to contain this," Nithki insisted. "We can't," Valera countered. "And we shouldn't. Look at how they're handling it. They're not descending into panic. They're creating, adapting, using art and story to make sense of the impossible." Indeed, humanity's response to their awakening abilities was uniquely human. Instead of seeking weapons applications or power grabs, most people's first instinct was to create, to share, to connect. Street art became community gathering points where people could share their new experiences. Social media filled with impromptu poetry that carried emotional resonance across language barriers. Musicians collaborated across continents, their songs literally harmonizing with the quantum field. Maya Chen's studio had become a focal point, her paintings serving as a bridge between human understanding and quantum reality. Valera found herself explaining concepts that had taken her species millennia to grasp, while Maya translated them into metaphors and images that humans could intuitively understand. "It's like, we've always been doing this," Maya said, sketching quantum equations as naturally as landscapes. "Every story we've ever told, every picture we've drawn, every song we've sung, we were practicing without knowing it." "Yes," Valera agreed. "Your stories weren't just stories. They were you, as a species, learning to touch the quantum fabric of reality itself." But not everyone was ready for such a dramatic shift in human consciousness. As news of the alien presence spread, along with evidence of humanity's emerging abilities, some reacted with fear. Governments argued over jurisdiction. Religious institutions grappled with theological implications. And somewhere, hidden from both human and alien observation, other forces began to take notice of Earth's awakening. In orbit, Captain Zixtal received a priority alert from the Galactic Council's Security Division. His form darkened as he read it. "Valera," he called through their quantum link, "we have a problem. The harvesters have noticed them." On Earth, Maya Chen added the final touches to a painting she somehow knew would change everything. A bridge between what humanity had been and what they were becoming. The quantum field hummed with potential, with creativity, with stories yet to be told. The awakening was complete. Now came the hard part, proving humanity was ready for what came next. The trial. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched impossibly upward, its crystalline walls containing representatives from 10,000 civilizations. Today, all attention focused on the small delegation of humans standing in the center. Maya Chen, along with a carefully selected group of Earth's artists, scientists, and leaders. Valera stood nearby as humanity's advocate, her crystalline form resonating with nervous energy. The Council had never faced a situation quite like this. A species that had developed quantum manipulation through art and storytelling rather than technology or evolution. "You propose to grant them full Council membership," High Chancellor Ixtel's thoughts echoed through the chamber. "Yet they have barely achieved spaceflight. Their technology is primitive. Their society is divided. And now they possess abilities they barely understand." Maya stepped forward, her voice steady despite the overwhelming alienness of her surroundings. "With respect, Chancellor, we understand more than you think. We've always understood. We just expressed it differently." She gestured, and the quantum field around her shimmered. Images appeared in the air, cave paintings from Earth's prehistory, Renaissance masterpieces, digital art from the modern era. But now, with humanity's awakened abilities, the Council could see what Valera had discovered. Each piece contained complex quantum equations, encoded not through mathematics, but through pure creative intuition. Every story we've told, Maya continued, every painting we've made, every song we've sung, they were all ways of trying to understand the universe. We didn't have your technology or your evolutionary advantages, so we created art instead. A murmur rippled through the assembled representatives. Some were impressed, others disturbed. Art was considered a pleasant diversion in most galactic cultures. To see it wielded with such profound effect was unprecedented. But before the Council could respond, alarm signals blared through the chamber. A representative from the security division materialized in the center of the room. The Harvesters, they announced, their energy form pulsing with urgency. They've launched an attack on the human quantum field. 3 Harvester ships have entered Earth's solar system. The chamber erupted in chaos. The Harvesters were one of the galaxy's oldest threats, beings who fed on the quantum potential of developing civilizations, leaving them hollow and broken. Usually, they targeted worlds that had just achieved quantum consciousness through conventional means, but Earth's unique development had caught their attention. Maya turned to Valera, her expression determined. Let us face them. That would be suicide. Chancellor Ixtel interrupted. Your species has no defense technology, no battle fleets. We have something better, Maya replied. We have stories. Over the next several hours, Maya and her fellow humans explained their plan to the Council. It was unprecedented, possibly insane, but it embodied everything that made humanity unique. They would tell a story, not just any story, but one that would resonate through the quantum field itself. Every human on Earth would contribute. Artists, writers, musicians, dancers, dreamers of all kinds. Their collective creativity would weave a quantum defense unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The Council was skeptical, but Valera spoke in humanity's defense. Their entire history has been about finding new ways to solve problems. When they couldn't fly, they told stories about flying until they figured out how to build planes. When they couldn't reach the stars, they wrote about them until they built rockets. Their imagination literally shapes reality. We've seen it happen. In the end, the Council had little choice. Conventional defenses would take too long to deploy, and the Harvesters were already approaching Earth. They would allow humanity to try their unprecedented solution. As Maya and her delegation prepared to return to Earth, Valera noticed something extraordinary. The quantum equations in Maya's latest paintings had changed. They weren't just describing reality anymore. They were prescribing it. Humanity wasn't just learning to use the quantum field. They were learning to change its rules. The trial wasn't over. It was evolving into something far more important. Humanity would have to prove not just their worth, but their wisdom. And they would have to do it while facing one of the galaxy's deadliest threats. Maya looked out at the star-filled expanse of space as their transport prepared to return to Earth. Every good story needs conflict, she said quietly. Time to write our way out of this one. Valera watched as the human delegation departed, wondering if she had just witnessed the beginning of a new era in galactic history, or if she had doomed both humanity and the Council by allowing this unprecedented gamble. The Harvesters were coming, but they had never faced a species that could literally rewrite the rules of reality through sheer creative force. The next chapter would determine not just humanity's fate, but perhaps the future of the galaxy itself. The defense. The Harvester ships appeared like dark tears in space, their hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. From her vantage point aboard the Quantum Seeker, Maya watched Earth's first line of defense take shape. Not a fleet of warships or energy barriers, but something far more powerful, a global network of human creativity. They're beginning their approach, Captain Zixtal announced. his translucent form rippling with concern. Their quantum dampening fields are already affecting the outer system. Maya nodded, feeling the pressure even at this distance. The Harvester's technology was designed to suppress and drain quantum consciousness, leaving civilizations as empty shells. But humanity had spent millennia telling stories about overcoming impossible odds. Now it was time to make those stories real. "Launch the protocol," she said. Across Earth, in every time zone, people gathered in theaters, concert halls, art galleries, and public spaces. Street musicians played on corners, children drew with chalk on sidewalks, poets recited in cafes, and digital artists streamed online. Each creative act strengthened the quantum field in ways the Harvesters had never encountered. Valera monitored the readings with growing amazement. The field isn't weakening under their attack, it's adapting, changing frequency, like it's learning their rhythm and creating a countermelody. The first Harvester ship reached lunar orbit, its dampening field at full strength. Across Earth, people felt the pressure, a heaviness in the mind, a dimming of imagination. But instead of succumbing, they did what humans had always done in the face of darkness. They created light. In New York, a symphony orchestra performed a piece composed in real time by an AI interpreting quantum fluctuations. In Mumbai, thousands gathered for a spontaneous dance that rippled through the quantum field like waves through water. In Lagos, a storyteller's words became literal reality as she wove tales of resistance and hope. The Harvesters hesitated, their ships pausing in their advance. Never had they encountered a quantum field that grew stronger under attack. Their dampening technology had always worked by isolating consciousness, preventing connection. But humanity's creativity thrived on connection, on sharing, on building something greater than the sum of its parts. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the surge of human imagination reaching toward the stars. Her own contribution came naturally, a painting taking shape in her mind, not of what was, but of what could be. Around her, the quantum field began to shift, reality bending like light through a prism. The Harvester ships pressed their attack, pushing their dampening field to maximum power. For a moment, the pressure became almost unbearable. Across Earth, people struggled to maintain their creative focus. Then someone, later, no one could remember who, began to sing. An old song, a simple melody about perseverance and hope. Others joined in, first in their immediate vicinity, then across cities, countries, continents. The song spread through social media, through quantum connections, through the collective human consciousness that had been building since the first cave paintings. In orbit, Valera watched in awe as the quantum readings went off the scale. "They're not just resisting the dampening field," she reported. "They're transforming it, using its own energy to create something new." The Harvester ships began to shudder as their dampening field was caught in humanity's creative resonance. The very force they used to drain civilizations was being turned into fuel for human imagination. Maya opened her eyes, her artwork now visible in the space around the ship, a massive quantum visualization of humanity's collective creativity. It showed not just what was happening now, but echoes of every story, song, and artwork that had led to this moment. The cave paintings, the epic poems, the symphonies, the digital art. All of it connected, all of it alive with purpose. The lead Harvester ship tried to retreat, but it was too late. The quantum field around Earth had become something entirely new, a creative force that turned the Harvester's own technology against them. Their dampening field collapsed in a spectacular display of light and energy. Their ships left powerless in space, but humanity didn't destroy them. Instead, the same quantum field that had defended Earth now reached out to the Harvester ships, offering not violence but transformation. The beings inside experienced something they had forgotten millennia ago: the joy of creation, the power of imagination, the strength of shared stories. "They're surrendering," Captain Zixtal announced, his tone incredulous. "But more than that, they're asking to understand, to learn." Maya smiled, adding the final touches to her quantum artwork. "That's what stories do," she said. "They don't just defeat the darkness. They help us understand it, transform it, make it part of a larger narrative." Around Earth, the impromptu global concert continued, humanity's creative energy now radiating out into space like a beacon. The quantum field hummed with possibility, stronger and more vibrant than ever. In the Galactic Council chamber, representatives watched in stunned silence. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had done so in a way that transformed an ancient enemy into a potential ally. And they had done it not through superior technology or military might, but through the power of human creativity and connection. The trial wasn't over, but its nature had changed. Humanity had proved itself not just worthy of joining galactic civilization, but capable of transforming it. The Symphony. 1 year after the Harvester incident, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had been transformed. Where once there were only crystalline walls and formal architecture, now there were murals painted with quantum-infused pigments, sculptures that sang with multiple dimensions, and holographic art that told the stories of 10,000 civilizations. Maya Chen stood at the center of it all, no longer an accused species awaiting trial, but a teacher sharing humanity's gift with the galaxy. Behind her, a delegation of former harvesters watched intently as she demonstrated how to infuse creativity with quantum resonance. "The key isn't in the technique," she explained, her brush creating patterns that rippled through multiple dimensions. "It's in the story you're trying to tell, the meaning you want to share, the connection you want to make." Valara, now serving as Earth's permanent ambassador to the Council, observed with pride. The changes of the past year had exceeded even her most optimistic predictions. Humanity hadn't just joined galactic civilization. They had sparked a renaissance. The quantum field that encompassed known space had grown richer, more complex, more alive with possibility. Species that had long since plateaued in their development were discovering new potential through human-taught creative expression. The harvesters, once feared as galactic predators, were becoming masters of quantum art therapy, using their transformed abilities to heal the civilizations they had once hunted. But it wasn't all grand cosmic changes. On Earth, the integration of art and quantum physics had led to revolutionary developments in everything from medicine to space travel. Children learned to paint their dreams into reality. Musicians composed songs that could terraform planets, and writers crafted stories that served as blueprints for impossible technologies. "We're recording unprecedented harmony in the galactic quantum field," reported Chief Scientist Nthki, their plasma form dancing with excitement. "The creative resonance from Earth has reached the galaxy's core. We're seeing quantum coherence on a scale we never thought possible." High Chancellor Ixtel, who had once doubted humanity's readiness, now stood before the assembled council to make a historic announcement. "We gathered here 1 year ago to judge whether humanity deserved a place among the stars. Instead, they taught us that we had forgotten something essential about the universe itself, that creation and consciousness are not separate forces, but part of the same cosmic symphony." Maya smiled, adding the final stroke to her latest work. A quantum painting that showed not just the galaxy as it was, but as it could be. In it, streams of creative energy flowed between stars like rivers of light, carrying stories, songs, and dreams across the cosmos. The former harvester ships, now transformed into traveling art galleries, had become bridges between civilizations. Their crews, once consumed by the need to drain quantum energy, now helped species discover their own creative potential. They called themselves the cultivators, turning their ancient hunger into a force for growth and transformation. On Earth, the changes continued. The old boundaries between art and science, between imagination and reality, had dissolved into something new and wonderful. Universities offered degrees in quantum poetry and computational sculpture. Space programs recruited artists alongside engineers, recognizing that both were essential for understanding and navigating the quantum-rich cosmos. But perhaps the most profound change was in how humanity saw itself. No longer were they just one small species on one small planet. They were part of a grand creative force that spanned the galaxy. Every human story, song, or artwork now had the potential to ripple across space and time, touching lives in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. Valera found Maya in her studio aboard the Council station, working on a piece that seemed to capture this new reality. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" she asked. Maya looked up from her work, her brush trailing quantum possibilities in the air. "Honestly, yes. In a way, we've been imagining this since we first looked up at the stars and told stories about what might be out there. We just needed to wake up to the power those stories always had." The quantum field hummed around them, alive with the creative energy of countless civilizations learning to tell their own stories in new ways. Earth's gift to the galaxy hadn't been technology or military might. It had been the simple, profound understanding that reality itself was a story waiting to be told, and everyone had a part in telling it. In the space around Earth, ships from 1,000 worlds gathered for the first Galactic Arts Festival. The quantum field rippled with creativity as species shared their unique forms of expression, learning from each other, growing together. Humanity's first contact hadn't led to war or conquest, or even simple cooperation. It had led to a renaissance that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. Maya put the finishing touches on her quantum artwork, a piece that would be displayed in the council chamber for millennia to come. It showed a single human hand reaching out to touch the stars, and everywhere it reached, new stories bloomed into being. The final trial was over. Humanity had not just found its place in the galaxy, they had helped the galaxy itself remember how to dream. And somewhere, in a small cave on Earth, where humans had first painted their dreams on stone walls, a child picked up a brush and began to tell a new story, adding one more voice to the endless symphony of creation that now spanned the stars.